Make extra money right now. Sell your old car, furniture, video games, household items, clothes, even your home. Sell anything that's legal. Load up your stuff to sell right now at buysellmakeoffer.com. This is your official invitation to get on board to sell your stuff right now. Free for the next 60 days. And once you see how easy it is, you'll want to sign up for more because there are no item fees. That's right. Take this opportunity to move items from the other guys and sell it for free. You might even win a Samsung tablet, Amazon gift cards, and other cool prizes. BuySellMakeOffer.com is the future of online selling. You can use Skype to talk to your buyer or seller. Plus, you can use video to showcase your items. BuySellMakeOffer.com. Miss one of your favorite shows? Don't worry, we've got your radio DVR right here on KCAAradio.com. Log on and listen to any show you want, anytime you want, on KCAA 1050 AM.
We found the problem with your car.
And
Turns out the carburetor differential modulator is out.
what?
And while we were digging around in there, this thing fell off.
Stop. There's no automotive repair nightmares at Diego Martinez's 5-Star Automotive in San Bernardino. 5-Star Automotive, where you'll get a great experience, and home of the $15.99 oil change. That's right, just $15.99. They specialize in transmissions, brake repair, AC, and many other repairs, all with a lifetime warranty on parts and labor. Diego knows when your auto needs 5-star attention, it's never convenient. He offers a 12-month interest-free auto repair loan on major auto repairs with no money down. He'll even throw in free towing and a 10% discount for his neighbors in the 909 who work for the city and county of San Bernardino. Call 909-387-0770. That's 387-0770. Your neighbors at 909 West 2nd Street in San Bernardino.
As the owner of my business, I wear a lot of hats. I'm accounting, sales, and so much more. But I don't know marketing.
Let Dex Media be your marketing department. Our team can create a digital plan for you with everything from search to social. Contact Dex Media, that's DEX Media, to get found, get chosen, and get talked about.
Whoa, that's a job for cleanup, which would be me.
Call 844-230-3436 or visit dexmedia.com today.
KCAA, where every day is a great day. KCAA, Loma Linda.
Empire Talks back this Sunday. Every Sunday, all you got to do is be here with us. Hey, and if you're not, you can pick up the podcast. All you have to do is go to kcaaradio.com and you can pick it up. And if you want to be on the move while you're listening to the show today, let me tell you, you can turn your telephone into a radio. All you have to do is dial 832-999-1050. That's 832-999-1050, and your telephone becomes your traveling radio. Boy, technology is just too much. It really is. Happy Labor Day weekend. Unless you're a slave or indentured servant, of course. Those are parts of our history, and we don't want to miss that as we celebrate the weekend of Labor Day. We don't want to forget that there are, the history of our country says if you don't work, you can't eat, which suggests that if you do work, you will eat, which is a problem for some people who are working to work and they can't get a job. And I don't know exactly what that means, except that maybe the same way we've got people trying to cross borders and we need to open up borders and share those things. It may be coming down to the point soon, people, where we need to open our doors and share our kitchens and our tables with each other. We should try doing that on a non-emergency basis so that if it becomes an emergency, we'll already have a place to go and be friendly with the people about doing that. Wallace Allen, Empire Talks back. This morning we have Miss Renea Wickman in the studio with us.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good.
Very good. I don't see the wrinkles of total disappointment on your forehead. I do know that you're disappointed about a very important issue. We were expecting to have a meeting on the 10th of September with members of a very important, and they're even more important now, committee. that their importance was going to be shared with us in the Inland Empire, so that we could discuss how we were going to help reform our people who are coming out of prison. I did say our people.
That's right.
Yeah, they're our people. What are we going to do with them if we don't absorb them correctly and put them back to work?
That's right.
They're going to show us how much of our people they are, because we're going to have to be taking care of them some other kind of way.
Yes.
So we like to step up and do it the right way. Renee, would you give our audience a quick briefing on what we were expecting to happen and with who on the 10th of September?
The Board of State and Community Corrections, BSCC.
BS?
BS.
Oh, BF. I thought BS was
BS.
part of their name, which would have
BS.
made it a lot easier to explain what we're explaining. But go ahead.
The Board of State and Community Corrections, the BSCC, who we're working on Proposition 47. And they were supposed to come down and tell us what they do to inform our community, the African American community, on the funds that will be saved from felonies being reduced to misdemeanors and the release of a lot of the prisoners.
Which is the Prop 47.
Yes, Proposition 47. So we had set a date for September 10th, and we were going to have a forum in one of our churches. A part of the Inland Empire Concerned African American Churches.
I just had a mental message. There's somebody out there listening, and folks, some of you should call in, because I can't pick up all of these messages through my mental extensions here. But I just heard someone out there saying, well, why is the African American community concerned about the money that's going to be spent to rehabilitate prisoners? Why would the African American community be concerned about that? I don't know who sent me that message, but I think they were on a space trip recently, and they just got back. But anyway, let's answer that question.
Okay, let's answer that question. The state of California will save hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's estimated that by next year they should know that up to $250 million will be saved, because these formerly incarcerated prisoners will be released, and so they aren't doing any more jail time. So since the African American community is up to...
Where does this money come from?
It's coming from not being housed in prisons anymore.
Oh, you mean the state's going to lose money because they're not putting people in jail?
Uh-huh.
Let me reverse that. Does that mean that the state makes money by putting people in jail?
Hand over fist.
Lord have mercy.
Hand over fist. And for the African American community, it's been centuries. People have made fortunes off of incarcerating African American men, women, and children. Fortunes. And across the country, we're 50% for sure, as much as 60%.
Now, some of you folks don't believe this, because you think that, well, wait a minute, America's the land of the free, home of the brave. Why would we be putting people away in jail when they could be contributing to society by working and doing the old
paying taxes?
John Smith thing. You work, you eat. You don't work, you don't eat. Why are these African Americans so prevalent in our jails? Why are they so prevalent in our politics that as we get ready to set a program in place that would rehabilitate prisoners, why is it that, what are we looking at? The percentage of
up
African?
to 40% here in the state of California.
So that's one of the reasons the African American community should be concerned, because 40% of the prisoners in the state system or in jail is 40% African American.
Absolutely.
In a population, from a population that represents less than 7% of the total population.
Yes, sir.
So black people, African American people, and probably some dark-skinned white people need to be concerned about what's going on with our jails and how we're going to rehabilitate people and remove them from the state trough, if you will, and get them back to where they should be, and that's working and contributing.
Absolutely.
I guess a major question, boy, I wish, first of all, let me say, we're missing Jamal Lilly this morning. He's not feeling well, and Jamal, I've got to, Anthony, if you can play a little violin music for Jamal. He's not feeling well, and we want him to know that we miss him.
Miss you, Jamal.
I do want him to feel a little sarcasm involved there, because, he only broke both legs. seemed like he should have been able to get here. Well, no, he didn't break his leg.
Oh.
I was just trying to be cold-blooded. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He broke his legs. He should have. He should have
Okay.
crawled in. No,
Okay.
my brother, we are very, very concerned about your health, and we want you to get better. Going back to what we were saying here about
Yes.
our circumstance with feeding people, with getting people out of jail, wondering why black folk are so concerned about it, and wondering why the rest of the world isn't concerned about it. You know, we're watching people all over the world having these migration issues. You can't come across my border. You can't come in my yard. You can't. Where in fact, we've got room for everybody. We've got food for everybody. We throw enough food away. We probably threw enough food away last night to feed all of those people that are struggling to get across borders. Probably could have fed them for a week on the food that America threw away last night. So we need to wake up, people. There's some things that we're doing that don't make us look very good to St. Peter. Oh, you thought I was going to say somebody else? If St. Peter matters to you, you better sit up, stand up, and try to straighten up because, you know, he's paying attention. You got a big list, your name on it. I don't know what side it's on, the come in or don't come in, but, you know, that's something that we have to deal with if we've got that kind of moral structure. Everybody doesn't have it. I'm not mad at you, but those of us that do have it, we need to stand up and be who we are. We have this meeting that was supposed to take place on September 10th here in the city of San Bernardino with this very special elite committee. These people are going to determine where this $250 million goes, who gets to receive this money and provide an effort to rehabilitate, bring people back into society, give them the mental structure to be able to get strong enough to go out here and fight the no, you can't have a job until they get to the point of where, yes, you can have a job, but now we need to find one for you. This is we've got a big nasty circle when we start looking at what happened in what has happened in America. Somehow America has closed its eyes to its potential and decided to try to do this marathon through time on one leg, as opposed to utilizing all of the powers and resources that it has. And I'm talking about black people. I'm talking about being able to utilize the talents that black people have brought to the United States before it was a United State. The first blood shed was a black man that Crispus Attucks, and the last bloodshed, I don't know, we'd have to look at the papers this morning, but I'm sure somebody was doing something in what they considered to be the name of America. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen. We're visiting with Renea Wickman, a community activist here in the county of San Bernardino, Riverside, the Inland Empire, Southern California, gateway to the mind of the world, and she's here to help us. And we've kind of let her down. She's a little upset, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what has made Renea upset and why you should be upset along with her, and how Labor Day, as a day of remembering the workers of America, needs to, I guess, be expanded a little bit so that we understand why the workers are having the problems that they have. We started off with slaves, indentured workers, free labor, providing the business world with free work. A lot of people call that fascism. I'm not sure if the intent was that, but if we don't straighten it up soon, we'll have to regard it as intentional. So let's take a short break, take a deep breath, come on back. We'll get a chance to speak with Mr. Evans, continue with the conversation with Ms. Wickman, and see if we can get you involved. If you think you want to call us, give us a call at 888-909-1050. That's 888-909-1050. Share your wisdom. I'm sure that you can help us solve these few problems that are keeping the world from turning the way it should. We'll be right back.
I tell you, don't get sad no more. Gonna get down and I'm afraid.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
For more local radio every day, tune into KCAA Loma Linda.
Yes, sirree. Nothing like having some friends. Nothing like having some friends. And you need to have some friends because things change. Things don't always work the way you want them to work. Now, we had a meeting scheduled for the 10th of September. We were supposed to meet with some big-time elite members of a state commission that we would be able to give them our concerns about where this $250 million is going. It's supposed to be there to rehabilitate people who have done crime and been sent back to the Inland Empire.
Yes.
Because the state no longer wants to house them, the state no longer wants to be sure and worried about, whether they get their steak medium or well done or rare, or even if they get the steak. That now becomes the issue and concerns of the county. And the state is going to send a little bit of money along. Are they going to send this money every year or just 1 year?
Yeah, this is every year.
Every year?
Every year.
For how long?
There's no say.
So it has become an issue or a desire to say, well, we're going to continue making money on the backs of these poor folk who we refuse to let have jobs. So if we don't create jobs for them, then they've got to hustle and muscle and maybe
go back to jail.
Yeah, steal some things maybe, or come up with some kind of plot, get involved in some drugs or something, and that gives us a good excuse to put them back in jail.
Absolutely.
One of the things that this reminds me of, and Mr. Evans is on the line, is the type of laws we call the Jim Crow laws. A lot of us grew up and heard the word and think Jim Crow laws. What is Jim? Jim Crow is a synonym for black folk, except it's a dark coded word, and it's become used, hadn't been used prominently in so long that we don't get as mad about that as we do the N-word. But basically, the word Jim Crow is the N-word. There was an actor back in the 1800s who, thought it was funny the way black folk had to live and had to dress or undress or be pretended to be dressed as they were enslaved and not treated well. But somehow there was humor in that, and we had the performers come out in blackface and do pieces on black life that were not kind at all. But this is the way they depicted black folk. It's the same way they depict them on TV now. You might want to see some of these. Let me ask you, what have you seen on TV lately that describes a black family or circumstance that you want to identify? Oh, I know a lot of you guys wish your girlfriend was Cookie on Empire.
Right.
But I'm asking who you want to be. You think you want? No, you thought you wanted to be him, but he's in jail now. There was a couple of people you thought you wanted to be, but they died earlier in the movie. So the thing that I'm saying is, man, is there anything out there that makes you feel comfortable about who you are and that your kids could watch and you feel good? Oh, they used to have a show like that, but then, the man that was in the movie proved to be much like the people that he hung around with in real life. And, the Playboy Club, I'm talking about the Cosby guy, the man who acted like Dr. Huxtable. Dr. Huxtable, the real hero in the family, but Bill acted like this guy, so now they want to throw all the Huxtable movies off the air. You can't watch the Huxtables anymore because Bill acted like a white man and went out and raped some women using Quaaludes, the thing that the drug of choice. Well, acted like. Not all white men. Don't get me wrong. Now there were some white men who knew how to rap, seduce, and did not have to go through stealing, and that's the whole Playboy thing was, if you didn't have time to steal, get the Quaaludes, bring them out, this works. And believe me, the people that were at the party knew what those little pills were in the jar.
Right.
They didn't think that was an aspirin or some Snapples or some what is the other candies. They knew what they were doing. Okay, so Wallace, get the mail. People are going to hate you, but I'm sorry. I used to be a groupie. I know what a groupie's willing to do. Come on now. I was lucky. I was lucky. They just didn't ask me to do all them things, but I mean, the shucks. Come on now. So, but anyway, my point is that family life, the depiction of family life and who we want to be and the imagery of people that we like, they don't give us that imagery for black folk. And so this guy back in the 50s, 1850s, went around satirizing black life, making fun of it, and not only did he do it, he did so well at it that others brought it into their act, and we had this whole Jim Crow thing of white people putting on blackface and going out there acting the kind of fool that they felt like they would have been able to act if they had been black. Most of the things that we see them do on blackface are very foreign and sometimes funny to us because we know it ain't nothing like black folks did. But beyond that, Jim Crow is, using the word Jim Crow is much like using the N-word. And Jim Crow laws depict the fact that there were laws made especially for black people to keep them in line. I've got a whole list of them. Matter of fact, you may have heard of some of them. Matter of fact, 1964, that wasn't very long ago, is when the Civil Rights Statement was made, the Civil Rights Act was made, and this is when public accommodations, and this is when you were, able to, we can give our money to the white man now. Black folks could give their money to white businesses successfully. We had beat them down. We finally made them realize that our money at the lunch counter was important and that they should let us have that position so we could close down those little diners that black people had, close down the little coffee shops and the cleaners and the little gas station that black people had, because we were finally going to be accepted into the realm of work and eat in the white man's restaurant. Listen, folks, white man can cook. I'm not worried about, I'm not saying he can't cook. I'm saying that it gets to a point where if you don't have an economy, if you're not able to create jobs for yourself and the people that you care about, the world ends up hating you. They won't let you in. Look at the people who are trying to escape the violence and terror in the Middle East. They're trying to go to a civilized place, Europe, civilized, place where they can get some shelter. Sorry, folks, that ain't coming easy. We've gotten to the point of where if you don't have a means of taking care of yourself, you're not going to get taken care of. So don't get crazy with me when I express some concern about the condition of black people in the United States of America. We have helped to build this country. We have done everything that we've ever been asked to do, and some things that we weren't. And of course, the thank you. This is America. We're not worried about a thank you. We're just looking for a get out of the way, let everybody earn their right to do what they want to do. And so we're talking about an overabundance of African Americans in jail who are going to be released back into the communities from whence they came and be encouraged, hopefully by that community, to be brought back into society so that they can contribute and be part of society, pay their taxes, take care of their family. And we know that there are some organizations that are very good at doing that. And so we, via Ms. Renea Wickman, our voice of reason, and raising hell if necessary. And we back her up on that. Our voice says, well, if in fact you've got this money and it's coming back here and it's coming back to help remediate some of the problems that that our prison, the people who've been in prison have, we should let community-based organizations do that, not the same people who've incarcerated them, held them in jail, kept them from learning something while they were in jail, and now they want to receive. I'm talking about the sheriff's department. Okay, I'm talking about probation.
Parole.
I'm talking about parole. These people are, certainly nice people. My wife used to work in corrections, and we've been married 40 years. I like her. So I'm not against police. I'm not against folks who do correction at all. I'm against injustice. I'm against the allocation of monies to situations and people who are actually more part of the problem than they are part of solving the problem. And if the money is there to help solve the problem, it's obvious where it should go. It should go to people who are there to help solve the problem. I didn't mean to lecture you this morning, Miss Wickman.
Speaking to the choir.
Okay, I am. And would you care to sing a song yourself at this point? Is there a solo that you, Mr. Evans? You've been peacefully and quietly listening to what we've got to say here.
That's correct.
And what would you like to say? What would you like to add to this conversation?
Well, you're doing an excellent job.
I know you would like to say, well, folks, I've got 100,000 jobs that I'd like to start interviewing people for. And America should be able to say that. But our 100,000 jobs are off in China some damn where. I don't have a problem with China.
Well, Donald Trump said he's going to bring them back.
Well, Donald needs to, Donald probably has as much power to bring them back right now as he would have as president once he got the debriefing and was told the real truth that Obama and every other president has been hamstrung behind. Okay? I don't know what that truth is, and you don't either. But I do know that everybody comes into the room promising they give you everything. But soon as they sit down at the table and they get served up the information, the briefing or the debriefing, their whole attitude changes. Everything. I mean, are we surrounded by aliens? Are we paying taxes to the Martians? Is there somebody out there in space that requires us to keep fighting and arguing with each other over this little old piece of watermelon? It doesn't make any sense to me. But we keep on doing it. But Mr. Evans, we're going to go on and take this short break. I see that I've run my mouth all the way into the train station. So we're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll entertain ourselves with a little message and input from Mr. Leonard Evans, my friend. We'll be right back.
Meeting you with a view to a kill.
Publish your legal notice in West Side Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. West Side Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call West Side Story newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Empire Talks back. I'm Wallace Allen, on the case for truth and justice with the right information to help improve the situation. Mr. Evans, we're talking to Miss Renee Wickman. She is a community activist, a person, an advocate for what she thinks is right, and especially in terms of our rehabilitation of prisoners, in the terms of delivering the rehabilitation money to organizations that are fit and historically, traditionally demonstrating that they can do these things, as opposed to giving the money to the police who obviously don't know how to do anything that has something to do with rehabilitation. You know, and I don't know if I should be mad or not. I'm not mad. I have a dog that I love very much, and for some reason Sherman waits till 2 or 3 in the morning to bark. I don't know what he's barking at. I realize there's some cats out there that, you know, are clever enough to sit just beyond his reach on the fence and infuriate him. But I've been trying to tell him, Sherman, don't let stuff that you can't control do you like that. But my dog's not listening. I don't know. But the main point that I want to make is that we should be paying attention to some of the barking that's going on all day long, as opposed to just the things at 2 o'clock in the morning. We've got people who are barking to get across the border to a safer life, to be able to be productive. We've got people barking to get out of jail and have access to a life of attempting to work so they can eat. We've got people that seem to want to continue to get paid for being a barrier to stop folks from being able to make those contributions. Yeah. What, Mr. Evans, have we said this morning that has raised your ire or made you have something to say? Or do you want me to just keep talking?
Well, I just watched a human ear being printed in a machine. They take your tissue and do something with it, and then they print out something, and here is living tissue that is the human ear. And they're saying within 10 years they'll be able to print a heart for you with your own cells. The
3D printer prints all in materials, and now we see that it prints human tissue.
They talk about a new meniscus, a new connecting tissue.
Now, do you think that they're going to spend all of this money in research and put together a slave or indentured servant or robot? They all are the same. They work free. Actually, the robot, once you build him, he doesn't have to eat and create waste. What are we talking about here, Mr. Evans? Should I be happy, sad, or what? As I look at technology, should I be wondering, is it designed to totally replace me, or is it designed to do that thing that we used to see in the 50s as we talked about modernization? Once the world gets all modern and we have all of our technical skills, that will be more relaxation and leisure time for people. Are we seeing that potential, or are we seeing a replacement tool? I'm just asking. You're a pretty smart guy. I've always asked you a lot of questions because you see things from a little bit different angle than me, and I appreciate you for that.
New choices is what you're seeing.
Well, I'm just wondering that as a person representing a group of people that have been traditionally misused, abused, and set aside, should I be enthusiastic about the prospects of a 3D printer that can possibly print new people?
Well, what happened in the past doesn't have anything to do with what people are capable of doing in the future.
This is
why
why
point to the motives of other people and obstacles that face going forward.
This is why,
but
even
it
the
does
most
not. The past does not determine the future.
Well, that's that. So hope is alive. Otherwise, we see people jumping out of cliffs and more people running around with vest, suicide vest on.
So
that's what we want to keep people pumped up.
Programs that you're trying to get this money for have proven to produce better results, less recidivism, helping people to fit into society, to become productive, to actually get what they should have gotten earlier in the educational path. And putting money toward that to create more productive and happy, actually, in the end, members of society makes things better for everybody. And to miss this opportunity over and over and over is absurd.
Now,
spend so much money and not get any results when you have the choice to spend money and get results. So people who make money off the problem, they don't want any changes. Those who really realize that this cost, not only in dollars, but in terms of overall quality of society, can be corrected.
No.
Those are the people in the end who are going to win out. And if you want to go into politics, let me ask you this. How is Donald Trump like Bernie Sanders?
Let me say this in terms of that answer. We had a statement earlier that I was making that until I straightened it out, sounded like I was speaking about, in a negative way, all white people. My friend Joe in the booth looked at me with total alarm because he knows that I should know better. And I do. Now, one of the things that takes place both under the auspices of Bernie Sanders and Mr. Trump, the thing is that they have both learned how to notice the effects of divide and conquer. Bernie is attempting to reverse that by suggesting that we can come together and conquer. Trump points out the fact that, listen, I'm in charge, I'm the man, and people who line up behind me, we will win, and that means there will be some losers, and you don't want to be part of that. The idea of why do people come together, let's go back real quickly and look at what was the relationship between the slave and the indentured servant. Both of them had to work. Both of them had, if you want to eat, you got to work, but one of them had the potential of freedom.
That's right.
Now that's pretty important. Potential of freedom, but you're still gonna be poor, maybe. But you could be white.
But you could look
forward. Hold on. There's some other reward here. You may not be able to be rich as you come out of your indentured servitude, but you're not enslaved, which means we're not going to treat you any longer like an indentured servant, and we're not going to treat you like a slave. Now, what does that mean? That means you've got the right to be white. Don't take me negative. Don't let everything go negative on you, dear.
Well, people won't look at you and say there's an ex-slave.
Well, they won't look at you and say that, but you've even got another level of privilege. We have just created a pecking order and given you access to someone who's lower than you. So not only did we tell you you're no longer a servant, and we didn't give you no money, and we didn't give you no job necessarily, but we did give you some authority over someone else.
Status?
Well, only amongst yourself. Okay, you can be a status, but we ain't giving you no real status because we still, under our breath, call you the same thing we call the N-word guy. So we had poor white people and poor black people. But to keep them separated, poor white people had to have the promise of being something special, and that part of it was white, especially as long as segregation and the movement to hold black people down as a stepping stone was there. And unfortunately, there are people who haven't gotten the note that that's no longer available, and we end up looking at the institutions that our government created to hold black people down, the laws, the Jim Crow laws, the laws, the segregation laws. You can't eat with white people. Miscegenation was one of the number one. That's when black folks or white people marry somebody out of their race. As we look at Jim Crow laws across the nation, the one thing that we'll see common about all of them from New York, Illinois, and everywhere, except for a couple, and I'll name those because it was so few, the idea of white people and black people or white people and Indians or anybody getting married and be official, oh no, they didn't have, that ain't happening because they knew the power of pillow talk and they were not going to have that. Matter of fact, that was such a strong issue, and it keeps so strong now. 3 weeks ago, we had a show where part of the subject matter was we had a lady, a black woman in here whose theme was black men hate black women, obviously because there's some black men who are with white women. The point is that this ism, this schism, this keep people apart has lasted through all of these years. Why would white men and black men and white women want to be together? Because of white men. White men ruled the world, ruled their world, and they were mean and evil to everybody. Why? Because they could be. the same sexism that started and worked with them back in the 1600s is the same sexism that they let our boy Bill Cosby participate with them because he became one of them. But sexism is what caused the delivery of quaaludes to be acceptable and women to be taken, get them drunk. Same thing. So don't get crazy with me out there, folks. Don't be trying to act like you don't know what's going on. We have been separated amongst ourselves, put in classes and groups to not make it easy for us to work together. We've been made to hate people that we should be hugging up on, talking to on a regular basis, plotting and planning with. But no, we don't. He's wearing he's wearing blue clothes, and I like red clothes, and you know they light skinned and I'm dark skinned, and you know he got straight hair, good hair, and I mean mine is curly, and you know I ain't going. Listen, we figure out all kind of reasons to not get together, to the joy and elation of those who don't want us to be together. I mean, we fight over what's wrong as opposed to what's right, but that's okay. We're getting there. Part of getting there is what we're doing today, and that's discussing the fact that we let people who have no interest in our welfare determine the route that we should walk for our welfare. We got to wake up, people. We got to stop letting other people tell us that it's okay to be unkind to somebody because of whatever reason. If you're white, if you're brown, if you're yellow, if you're black, and you're not a millionaire, and that's most of you, and if you are a millionaire, how liquid is your million? How much are you sheltering for someone else, though it looks like it's yours, but you know, you're a franchise owner, you don't own that stuff. Open your eyes, pay attention to what's really going on, and you'll realize that you've got power. You've got the power, the responsibility, and the power to straighten things out. We don't have to let lobbyists have more power to the people that we elect than we have. Call those people up. Write them a letter. You live in the neighborhood with them. Go see them. Don't let them come home from Sacramento or from D.C. and you don't call them. You voted for them. Make them do something. Right now, we have the ability in the county of San Bernardino to raise enough hell to be sure that the committee that's in charge of sending money to help rehabilitate our prisoners finds out about companies and organizations like Kim Carter's organization.
Time for Change.
Time for Change. A woman who had prison time herself, realized that it was important to make a change, came out of prison, made her change, established an organization, and in a period of 5, 6, 7 years, she's helped almost 1,000 women create a new path for themselves. She knows how to help people. When the county gets its money to help rehabilitate people, if Kim Carter and Time for Change don't get the bulk of that money for helping black folk, we ought to be. Well, I'm not going to call for revolution during this segment. Let's take a short break and come back and see what I do in the next segment. This is Empire Talks Back. I'm Wallace Allen on the case for truth, justice, with the right information to help improve the situation. Boy, don't you feel stronger? Don't you feel stronger just knowing you got somebody got your back?
Publish your legal notice in Westside Story newspaper. For the best service and the best rates, call 909-384-8131. Publishing legal notices in the city and county of San Bernardino since 1990. Westside Story provides friendly expert service. Call 909-384-8131 to benefit from budget-friendly rates. Whether a fictitious business name, a name change, a divorce summons, or any other legal or public notice, call Westside Story Newspaper 909-384-8131. 909-384-8131. That's 909-384-8131.
E-Digits. Lock 'em in for more information, recreation, and guaranteed fun. KCAA 1050 AM.
Oh, yeah. A little slow music so that we don't move past each other so quickly. We need to slow down, smell each other's breath a little bit so we can understand that there is something common about all of us. Bad breath in the morning. But we're breathing. That means we should, be ready to do something here. We have a guest, Miss Smith from Chicago. She was driving down the outer drive earlier this morning and heard us on the radio and hopped in her car and drove right on out here to California to ask a question here. And she asked a question during the break. Would you like to repeat that question, please, Paula?
My question was, when people come out, I was under the impression that if you committed a crime in a particular county, that was the county you came back to, and that those dollars would go to that county because that's where you were and that's where you would be taking your rehabilitation.
And that is exactly what's happening. The problem is that who delivers and administers who receives the money and delivers the services once it gets to the county is our issue. So you're very right, and possibly you've helped a lot of other people understand what we're talking about. That money does go back to your county of origination. But who gets the money? The county sheriff certainly wants it. The coroner department wants something. The probation department wants some of that money. And our point is that the sheriff has had that money in the past, probation has had that money in the past, and recidivism has not changed. People keep going back to jail. Well, why would I suspect the sheriff and probation of doing things that basically encourage people to go back to jail? Because that's what causes them to get a paycheck. If you were getting paid to pick up paper, what would you do when you saw some paper on the ground? You pick it up. If you're paid to keep people in jail and take care of people in jail, what do you want to do when you see people who have the choice of either being in jail or not?
Keep the pipeline full.
Keep the pipeline full. Come on now. And I'm not blaming them. I'm just describing human nature. If we want to change that process, we need to change the process. We can't change human nature. The things that bring you money that you work all day for to solve your family's problem. You want every element of that to continue and increase if possible. Why? So you can get paid. We want to get paid. Ms. Wickman is one of those people who feels
pay them to keep the peace and reduce their pay when there are difficulties, so they have an incentive to keep the peace.
Well, that's where Ms. Wickman is coming from. She said that she believes that these are our monies, and if it will help to keep our county and our people moving smoother and working better, that we should be putting that money in a place where it's going to be effectively used, not just used. Many nonprofit organizations, especially institutions, they have an issue about what to do with their money. If they're on like the state of California, fiscal year ends in June, starts in July. June 30th, June 15th, June 1st. If you have a department that's got money left over and you haven't spent that money, there's a great chance that your budget the following year is going to be reduced by the amount of money you didn't spend.
You've demonstrated that you don't need
You don't need that money. Obviously, it's still sitting in your budget. Well, wait a minute. You misunderstood. That money is needed quite desperately. I just was able to keep from using it by... but anyway, I got to spend it. It'll be gone in the next 3 days, I promise you.
what you do is you show you spent all the money and provide the list of all the things need to be done you didn't get to, which is why you need more money. This is what they do every year, man. You know how that works.
That's right. So we see that as a problem, and we see that as something that needs to be dealt with.
Because no one is there to ask, where are the results?
Right. Well, Ms.
To measure this. Am I getting something for all this money we're putting into these different agencies?
And that's a question that we will be asking in the county of San Bernardino if we don't get an ability to have some more input into who receives this money. What are you suggesting that we do at this point, Ms. Whitman?
Well, the Speaker of the Assembly, State Assembly of California, Tony Atkins, has a bill. It's 1056. It's AB 1056.
That's what time it is.
And so this bill includes housing, training, and so on and so forth, but it will go to a public entity to be dispersed out to the CBOs and the faith-based organizations.
So they'll grab another 15-20% off the top to administer this money and give it to whom is going to be the actual.
Let me speak for Mr. Lilly. That housing money better goes into jobs.
So we're hoping, and we're fighting for, that they only get 15%.
Yeah,
and that's for administration. Yes. So we would like to, rally our people to talk to the governor, because now that bill it has passed the Assembly and it's passed the Senate, and now it's getting ready to go to the governor's office to sign. Now, the BSCC puts together steering committees, and the steering committee for Proposition 47, the way that money is going to go, they put the language for the grant. And so we need our own people, as far as that is concerned, to be on that steering committee, so that and they have the rights to pick and choose whoever they want for the steering committee, the BSCC board. And so
and
we want
to. There'll be a steering committee for every county?
No. For the Proposition 47.
Okay,
the steering
so
committee is
a statewide steering committee
for Proposition 47. How they're going to the language for the grants when the organizations come in and apply for that money, and
that's only if this bill passes.
It passed. The governor has to sign it. Now the governor is just going to sign it, but it has passed through the Assembly, from what I understand, the Assembly and the Senate. And so what we want to make sure is that the public entity where the money will be funneled down to from the BSCC, that they only get 15%. And the rest of the money goes to the community-based organizations and the faith-based organizations, because historically they have kept all of the money and given 0.000% to the community-based organizations.
So we can look forward to an organization like the county probably to create a receiver organization to deal with that money.
It would be like the housing authority, because for housing they would want the housing authority and they would be the main organization, public entity that would have all of that money and then distribute it according to the language of the grants that the steering committee has put together. So then you would have a group of the nonprofits that would come together and apply for the grant.
Whose doors should we be identifying as the places that we need to knock on to be sure that our voices are heard?
We need to talk to the governor. We need to talk to Tony Atkins, and we need to talk to the BSCC so that we can recommend our own people to sit on that steering committee.
Well, now, if indeed they are going to provide some money directly to the county of San Bernardino, some type of way to some agency,
yes,
should we not be dealing with the people that owe us here locally? Our local elected officials should have some type of authority over this money. Our board of supervisors, the people that we have elected to represent the various entities of our areas of our county, should we not be looking to them to have that final word?
Not
here?
right now. Not right now. Right now, we need to make sure that the language is such that the public entity only gets 15% of that money.
Gotcha.
Right now. That's the immediate desire that we have right now.
Folks, we're talking about bringing prisoners, folks that are in jail, out of jail, and bringing them back into society. We're not talking about murderers and rapists and we're not even talking about Slick Rick, your white collar criminal.
We're truly
talking about people that
low-level nonviolent crimes. Low-level nonviolent crimes. And it could be theft, and it could be drug possession, checks, and it's $950 and less. Now,
if they
you
committed
cannot
a crime that was
$950 or less, and it was a felony, it can be reduced to a misdemeanor.
And these are the people that we're talking about.
These are the people that we're talking about. These are the people that we're talking about.
Very good. Okay, and these are people that can help society. These are people that, with their jobs, they can help their children. They can help reestablish their families.
Yes.
And that's what we want to have happen. But the big thing I want to get across to us, folks, is that we are wasting human talent.
Yes.
We are wasting the human resource.
That's right.
When we don't consider the best that our fellow man can provide, and if we don't provide the best to develop our fellow man. Education is the other element of the Jim Crow laws. Miscegenation was the number one thing that they wanted to keep alive. No mixing of races. Matter of fact, in 1942, Arizona in 1942 was so confused about the issue, they made a law that said anybody that had a mixed heritage couldn't marry anybody. So
really?
Listen, this is the world is a beautiful place. I don't want anybody to think that I'd rather be somewhere other than in the United States on the planet Earth. So I love it, and I know that we can make it a better place. Based on that, we're going to see you next week under two circumstances. One, if the good Lord's willing.
The Lord is willing.
Two, if the creek don't rise. God bless you. Thank you for being with us, Miss Renea. Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you for
Smith,
having me.
thanks for that long drive from Chicago to come out and be with us this morning. Joe,
Make sure to drive to Los Angeles.
Joe, our mood master, Mr. Anthony Garcia, doing a great job in there. We do appreciate you. Matter of fact, if you wanted some free music lessons, the great Anthony could provide those for you. Give us a call at 909-881-8280 if you would like to see your kids get some free music lessons. God bless you. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.
If you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen to every word I say, every word I say.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Your NBC Sports Radio update starts now.
It's almost time for NFL kickoff. I'm Jeff Nathanson. Thursday night, the season begins. The New England Patriots get back to business facing the Pittsburgh Steelers in the opener. Speaking of the Patriots, quarterback Tom Brady talked to the media today for 5 minutes. That was the first time he had spoken with reporters since February. He said all the typical things, ready to focus on football, loving to play the game, and the Patriots and the Steelers kick it off on Thursday night.